Hello, algoriters. It's Al Reynolds, and court is back in session. Tonight is a special night because I just left the White House for Pride Month celebrating Pride here in Washington, D.C. I'm Al Reynolds, and this is the Court of Public Opinion. I'll be serving as your judge, and you, the viewers, will be the jury. Now, the Court of Public Opinion is the place where you, the people's voice, will be heard. Be sure to hit that like button. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. If you are subscribed, be sure to hit that share button. Don't forget to turn on your notifications because, like I shared, I got something coming up really juicy that you want to be a part of. And drop down in those comments because you know my two legal beagles love your comments and love to see what you're saying. Now, we're bringing back the original two. So everybody, please drop down in the comments and throw a briefcase in the chat for criminal attorney Brian Ross. Brian Ross, welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion.
All right.
All right, Brian. Brian has been vacationing, everybody. We're very lucky to have him back, and he's getting ready to go back on vacation, so we might lose him for a little while longer. And we have our original, the one and only, throw those wine glasses in the chat for attorney Simone Redwine. Simone Redwine, welcome to the show.
Hey, y'all. Oh, and I want to say this time, go to SimoneRedwine.com, y'all. That's my website to get the pre-launch ebook for my new book. It's called Background Checks 101, the beginner's guide to figuring out who the heck are you dealing with. So I teach you how to run your own background check.
Good job.
Not a background check, Simone. We're going to come back to that because we know women love doing their research on Facebook.
All day.
Yeah. Well, Cynthia Bailey should have did hers. Cynthia Bailey apparently should have did hers.
Is right for them. All right, everybody. Court is now in session. We have an incredibly fun-filled night for you, and we're going to be talking about a lot of individuals that have ended up, some of them back in the Court of Public Opinion, and some of them in the Court of Public Opinion for the first time. Up first, we have Tiana Taylor and Iman. Oh my gosh, what a sexy couple. And I am so sad, Simone and Brian, to see this couple split. But I guess if you're going to go to Splitville, this is how you do it. All right, Tiana Taylor and Iman Shumper is back in the Court of Public Opinion. And the court has ordered Iman to pay $8,000 in child support. Now, let me tell you something. This is what's interesting. He makes significantly less money than his wife, Tiana Taylor. All right, Brian, talk to me as a criminal attorney. How does this happen? She makes $100,000 a month, allegedly. He makes half of that, even less than half of that a month. Why is it that he's paying $8,000 a month in child support?
Because he's a pappy.
Whatever. First of all, as an Ohio boy, as a Cleveland Cavaliers basketball fan, this breaks my heart. It's not his fault. It breaks my heart. It's not his fault that he played with LeBron and he made a couple of dollars while he was playing and won an NBA championship. In fact, if he had had me as his lawyer, I would have told him to go buy Simone Redwine's book on background checks and investigate this woman because clearly she knew what she was doing and he didn't. Clearly, she had the better lawyer in this situation. Not only did he have to give up $8,000 a month in child support, which, as a man, you don't mind paying for your kids. But at the same time, you have to cough up 4 of your houses that you bought during your playing career. Right. And as an NBA player, you make a lot of money when you're playing. When your playing time is over, you make a lot less. So she's making more. In my opinion, she should have had to pay more. Typical court system, siding for the woman, not the man. That's what
Attorney Simone Redwine, talk to me here because you know you're very vocal when it comes to you paying your portion and what it's supposed to be. What state are we talking about, and why does he have to pay so much?
So we're talking about the state of Georgia, and this is not so much. The state of Georgia does something that's called a shared model. Now, earlier, Brian was like, well, why does he have to pay? Because he's the pappy. Both parents made the children, and both parents should have to support the children. Because we also forget, once these kids turn 18, in most states, the parent doesn't have to provide any more support. So if the child's going off to college, etc. Now, here, what Georgia does is, so her income is approximately $100,000. His is $40,000. So what they do is they basically, per month, you're right. Think of pouring them into one cup. If you poured it into a cup, that'd be about 140 ounces. Think of it that way.
Okay.
What happens is you separate it out. That means she makes 70% of the money and he makes 30. So what happens is, because she has the kids the majority of the time, she incurs most of the expenses and he's got to give over something. So his percentage, he's really not even providing 50% of what the kids need. He's only providing 30%. And what the court has basically calculated is that both of the children combined need approximately $24K. That's the lifestyle the kids are used to. And because you two can't get along, don't mean the kids should have to start going to public school or have to quit dance or quit AAU because you two couldn't get it together. So in effect, what happens is she's the majority parent, but he has to contribute only 30% of their total needs. And in his situation, coming up with 8 is nothing. Because part of it, you also talked about, he had to give up his homes that he earned during the marriage. You know why? Because this mother sucker went and wasted $4 million during the marriage on doing goofy stuff, buying cars, buying this, buying that. So during the marriage, part of the reason why he has to contribute some is because he did what's called wasting resources.
Wow. So, what is it like? I don't help me understand, Brian.
Judge, I'm sorry to cut you off. If I can respond to that, please. Okay?
You may.
The term in Florida is called dumping. She called it wasting resource, called dumping for all the single dads or the fathers who are watching this show, going through a divorce with their lovely ex-beau. It's called dumping. Do not spend your money on jewelry. Don't listen to your homeboy in the cigar bar telling you, hey man, let's go to Columbia and blow it. Don't do it, bro, because they're gonna find out. They're gonna go through your finances to find out. But beyond that, it's very unfortunate that we can't factor in that this singer's career was lackluster until she married an NBA player.
Tell it, Brian.
Her career was lackluster until she married an NBA player and was seen sidelined with Savannah James, LeBron James' wife, at this NBA event and that NBA event, and now all of a sudden she's a star. We can't factor that in because I get that doesn't come into the equation, but that's the reality of the situation. And I'm sorry, maybe now she can get a job singing on Bad Boy Records. Would you like that?
Now, Nikita on top made a really great point, which is that making $40K a month, him contributing $8K is only 20% of his income. Exactly. In most states, for 2 children, you have to contribute more like 25%. In the state of Texas, for 2 kids, you're supposed to give 25%, capped at approximately $2,300.
Well, this is my question, though. This is my question. I don't mean to cut you off, attorney, and counselor. I want to be respectful. He's out of work. She's
Absolutely
working.
Not. He's not out of work because he's earning $40,000 a month. So he's getting that money somewhere. So he gets it from endorsement deals. He gets it from appearances. He gets it from passive income. So you can't be out of work talking about you make 40. I know some people make 40 all year. So I think that is why the court now, later down the line, if his income decreases, he can certainly go back to that court. But more than likely, the court is going to expect him to contribute something along the lines of, he's going to have to still contribute something unless his income goes down substantially. Because, for example, if we compare him to Halle Berry, I use her as the quintessential example of why you don't have babies with boyfriends who are poor. Because Halle Berry had primary custody. She had the majority custody of her daughter. She had it with that cute little model. His name was Aubrey or whatever his name was. And she had to pay him $18,000 a month. Yeah, $12,000 to $18,000 a month, even though she had the baby the majority of the time, and he'd just get the baby every other weekend. But that was because Halle made so much more. And the law says they want the children on either house to have similar lifestyles.
The same lifestyle.
But
so
isn't it the same old story every time where the man winds up? I get the Halle story, and I do identify. But once again, we find ourselves, and I'm all about equity. Okay, first of all, be a man, take care of your kids, don't complain about it. I get it, obviously. But we are in a situation again where a man who's out of work, not working, I get he gets an NBA pension, and I get he's getting money from somewhere. Attorney Redwine is correct in her assessment analysis. People, spot on. She's a talented lawyer. Take it to the bank. But it's need and ability to pay. The child's needs and the ability to pay. In this instance, who has the greater ability to pay?
Right. That's
It's
my
not
argument.
the greater ability.
That's my argument. Red wine. Hold on. Red wine. That's a fair argument. That's a fair argument. It's ability to pay.
No, it's not. That's not
booked everywhere.
The court has determined he has an ability to pay based on $40,000 a month.
Okay.
Even if he lived over his means, let's say he lived a lifestyle where he spent $50,000, right? The court says we don't care. The court says that's irresponsible of you as a father. So because you make 40, it is more than reasonable for you to spend 20% of your income to support your child. Also, you have to remember, some states are straight up, they don't do the joint income model like Georgia and California. Some states like Texas, if I'm a millionaire and I have a baby by a bus driver, that bus driver has to still pay me 20% of his bus driving income. They don't care. So I say that to say that you also, if you're a person who has not yet filed, you want to pick the state that is the most beneficial to
right. You say that because Attorney Redwine, you say that because you're shady. All right. So let's just before we move on, can we talk about what was the cause of the divorce?
I didn't see the basis of that come out anywhere. We have to get unless Attorney Redwine knows.
I read it. It was infidelity, which I found it was infidelity.
But also how they invited multiple people in the bedroom. They invited women.
I said, what is it? He was doing it to girls that you thought was ugly and you didn't want to participate. Like, when y'all are out here doing it to everybody, I really just don't understand, how do you draw the line?
Right. I agree.
She also added the fact that it was certain emotional things too. She felt he was narcissistic. They actually did pause the divorce for a few months and did therapy, trying to get back together. She really tried everything. I'll say they both seem to have really tried to get their marriage back on track, but it seems that they grew apart. They weren't the best friends in real life in their household that they showed themselves to be on the internet.
She knew what she was doing. Played it perfectly from the beginning. I'm proud of her effort. I'm not making I'm not saying she's insincere, but she married this NBA star, Iman Shumpert. Yeah, granted, he never was a Hall of Famer, but he's with the best player in the world. She marries into singing, and now he's paying her $8,000 a month. That's my storyline. I'm sticking to her.
Attorney Ross, Tam B. Dan said Brian needs some Visine stat.
I'm sorry. I have lazy eyes.
All right, everybody. We're gonna move on along. Peter Thomas, welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. But this time, my friend, you're in here deeper than the last time. We in the Court of Public Opinion are looking at not only IRS charges, but also you're not paying your employees. Attorney Simone Redwine, talk to me what's going on, because if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that we've heard something about not only PPP loans, but also Social Security taxes. Redwine, what is going on with Peter Thomas? And he's an OG. We like Peter Thomas, but he's back in the Court of Opinion and we need some answers.
Yeah, he's an old scamming G. That's what kind of G he is. And it seems to be a resounding hint, a recurring theme with these reality show men. They live outside of their means. They get with these successful women and they want to live off these women and pretend to have the lifestyles that they simply can't afford. Now,
hold on. Order in my court. Now, we're not going to slander. In my court, we're not going to slander men now. Because
we're going to go with that.
I let it go.
Hold on. Each woman that takes on a man loves him, supports him. She made that decision. So let's keep this equitable.
Thank you, Judge.
All right? Let's keep it equitable.
Okay, I'm going to state the facts and the history of the facts.
There you go. Go ahead. All right.
He's had a plethora of prior businesses that failed for similar reasons, all of which were financial. And if you recall, towards the end of his showing on Real Housewives, part of the issue is Cynthia invested quite a bit into his business and she lost that. That created tension in their marriage. Fast forward to 2019. Now, they divorced around, I believe it was 2017. In 2019, Peter Thomas was actually arrested for passing fraudulent checks. At the time, he used his attorney stated that, this was a misunderstanding. I mean, hundreds and thousands of bounced checks. Fast forward to here, for over a year, there had been rumors and so forth about his bar one. People loved the ambiance of the bar one, but there were resounding complaints from the workers about failure to be paid. Well, here today, he's recently done a sealed plea with the federal government.
What does that mean?
A sealed plea means, well, here it means he is facing up to 5 years in prison. He won't know his sentence. 5 years. Get your homeboy. Y'all might need to have a little powwow at the house. Make him a little care package, a little jail care package and stuff. It's Fed, so you're going to, get your money ready for the J-Pay. But what it means here is that he has agreed to certain things before the judge, that his side, the defense and the prosecutor have come together, and he sealed it. Sometimes, majority of the time, when it is a sealed plea, components of it require you to snitch on other people, to say who else has been part of your scheme. But the gist of his scheme here was that he would collect taxes, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, that are then supposed to be given to the state. These were taxes that his employees earned.
His employees, right? Attorney Simone Redwine, it's his employees. Social Security is what you get paid for your employees.
Correct. And so as a result of him not turning it over, not only has he withheld over $2.5 million that belongs to the government, but it also means those employees don't get Social Security, that they don't get paid, that all that hard-earned labor doesn't get paid into Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. So not only has he screwed the government, he screwed those hardworking people.
Okay, talking about screwed those hardworking people, Attorney Brian Ross, this is criminal now because he also has this PPP loan money that he was given because he was a restaurant. He was supposed to take that money to pay for the employees. And from the allegations here is that he did not use the money from the PPP loans, which was a significant amount, right, Attorney Redwine? It was like millions that he
correct. It says he had withdrawals, travel, real estate purchases, and retail purchases.
Let me tell you, Judge, the PPP loans that people took out during the heyday of COVID are coming to haunt them now. I'm getting so many phone calls from small business owners like Peter Thomas, who took out PPP loans, bought cars, bought jewelry, didn't use it as properly allocated by the federal government. And the government is coming down hard on these people. So if you're one of listeners here and you're involved in a PPP loan situation, make sure you call your lawyer. Don't talk to anyone, because the federal government is coming after those collection efforts, and it looks like he's in trouble for this now.
Well, I will say this, and this is for both of our counselors here. You guys know that PPP loan situation was so flexible. It was so willy-nilly. All you had to do was basically digitally walk through a process, and you were awarded millions of dollars. So I hope that for us small business owners and other small business owners that took advantage of it to help start their business, that they are still protected by the federal government. All right, let's move on along. This is one of my favorites tonight. The incredible Georgia judge, Christina Peterson. What's up, counselor? Or she's not a counselor. She's like, what's up, Your Honor? You have landed yourself in the court of public opinion, and beautiful. It is not for a good reason. All right, Simone, talk to me here, because I am perplexed. And I want to be very clear that I am perplexed that an officer of the court, unlike a lawyer like the two of you, but an officer of the court who's a judge, was at a nightclub, had too much to drink, and assaulted.
Take me. I could give a damn. Take me.
Unbelievable.
You can play that audio. Sorry.
Go ahead, play it.
No. Take me. I could give a damn. Take me where you want to take me.
How do you want me to take you somewhere expeditiously?
Now. Take me where you want to take me. No. Just let that nigga run on the female.
Pause.
No.
Pause it if you can.
Pause right there, please.
No. What I want you to see here is the woman that was wilding and doing that you see there. That's the woman she claimed that she was saving. That woman didn't want to be saved. She didn't need saving. Security had her. She was separated from the gentleman that the woman was in fisticuffs with. And then in the next frame, what you see is the police officer walk up while the security guard with the security shirt on is holding the girl to separate her from the man that was the issue. So I just say that to say, Christina, now you know you didn't handle that right. But let me give you quickly the backstory. Now I do a deep dive into it on my channel. My YouTube channel is called Girl, Is That Legal? And I did a 2-part deep dive. But the gist of it is this. So Christina's claim is that she saw this man beating on this woman. She ran over to try and separate the two, and in doing so, didn't realize it was a police officer. She showed that she just saw a man trying to take a woman away and began to and then hit him. And but she said she didn't hit him actually. But then she gets arrested, and then she gets arrested at 3:18 in the morning. She then refuses to give the police her name, even though that's that's a crime in Georgia, failure to ID. And then she, for the next 3 hours, more than that, from 3 a.m. to 9 a.m., she cusses out the police, calls them the N-words, tells them to Google her. I don't know how you Google somebody whose name you don't have because it won't give it to you. But it was absolute ridiculousness. And one of the key clinchers is that the woman that was the so-called victim that she went to help was no victim at all.
Wow.
The woman actually admitted that she started the fight. She assaulted a woman in line and that woman's boyfriend is who became involved. And in fact, Christina just released some extra footage with another angle. That extra footage shows after the so-called victim, her name is Alexandria Love. After Alexandria Love assaults the woman, she literally admits, she said, well, I pushed her because she was getting aggressive with me and I didn't like that. So I pushed her. Okay. After she does that, the boyfriend is standing there. She then squares up with the boyfriend, takes off her shoes, takes off her heels, squares up, swings on him, and he swings back. Whole ruckus.
I know. So, attorney, counselors, let's talk about this because at the end of the day, you know, the two of you, you're still young enough to go to the clubs. You're still young enough to hang out. You still want to go to the bar and enjoy yourself. Talk to me about once you presented with your license and your shield, and especially as a judge, is there an ethical clause that says that there's a way that you have to behave that's different? Attorney Brian Ross,
always, Judge, when you get this thing in your wallet or your purse called a bar card, in Florida, they give you, it's a physical card like a driver's license, but it doesn't have your picture on it. When you have that bar card, you keep it on you. I keep mine on me at all times by habit. You are now habitually committed to a certain behavior. You can't turn up in the airport when TSA messes with your bags. You get pulled over by the police, you got to be cool. You can't turn up in court when the judge is turning down on your client. Your client turns up on you, you got to take it because we have ethical obligations and they will bring you in for a hearing and talk to you about that and send you to a very annoying Saturday seminar that you have to sit through and listen to all this stuff. This judge right here was removed from the bench for what's called systemic incompetence.
Wow.
Systemic incompetence. I mean, you don't have to be a lawyer to know what that means. And what she's going to have to do now, like as her lawyer, her criminal defense lawyer, I can get her through almost all of this except for one thing.
What's that?
The thing where you said you hit the police officer. Alleged battering a police officer is something that you and I are going to have a problem with.
Here she goes.
The hardest thing to get you out of. And so I think ethically she's violated so many codes, she'll never get back to the bench. I don't see how she'll do it. The one thing that could save her, honestly, someone read one, if you agree with this, is if she admits she has an alcohol and drug problem in Texas.
And they put her in rehab.
The bars across this country are very simple.
They will help you with that.
They will help you, but you got to admit that's your problem.
Now, hold on, Red Wine, because, you know, let's be clear. She has been fired. She's been removed from the bench. Now, this is what I want to know, Simone, and answer it when you share what you're going to share. Being removed from the bench is a huge offense as not only a judge, but as a practicing lawyer. Will she be able to practice, even though she's removed from the bench? That's different. Will she be able to practice law in the state of Georgia?
Yes, currently she can practice law. That is not an issue, but it will be because of her behavior. What's most important to understand is that the reason she was removed from the bench is for 30 prior counts of unethical behavior. Some of the comments said, "Why are you so happy about a judge who made a mistake?" Oh, no, 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 no. This is not a judge who made a mistake. This is a judge who has been terrorizing her county. Because let's talk about just some of those 30 complaints. One of those was a woman who was simply contacted the court because she wanted to amend her marriage license to list the proper name for her father. She found she had never known her father, so she initially had her uncle listed. She's from another country. Initially had her uncle listed on her marriage certificate. Found out who her father was, contacted the court and said, "Hi, I'd like to come in and get this amended." The judge said, "You need a hearing." At the hearing, the judge sentenced her to 20 days and said that she had committed perjury by claiming that the man who raised her was her father, not this person she didn't even know exists.
Oh, that's not cool.
That was ridiculous. Another time, she was upset that one of the bailiffs was taking too long to escort her to the courtroom. So she hit the panic button, causing the entire courthouse to go on lockdown. Another thing that she did was that after being told she could not conduct after-hours weddings at the courthouse because there would be no available security, she snuck people into the courthouse to conduct a wedding for one of her homegirls.
Not fit to be a judge.
These are the kind of things. So what's important to know is none of this fight stuff had anything to do with it.
Got to the decision to remove her from the bench.
It just meant she should have known better.
This is insane to me because, I mean, let's be very honest. There are not too many judges on any level that are the color of us. So for someone to take that and abuse it just really leaves a bad taste in my mouth. All right, everybody. I'm telling you tonight, I told you tonight was going to be a good show. If you're enjoying tonight's show, drop those red wine emojis down into the chat. Don't forget, Brian is back, everybody. The criminal attorney's back. Throw some of those briefcases in there. And you know I'm always going to keep it real and honest with you and give you a good show. Throw some facts emojis if you're enjoying the show. Don't forget to hit that like button because the likes ain't liking with our views. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed and hit that share button if you are. And come on in the comments because, of course, we're going to get to your questions later on the show. Now, stay tuned because Miss Kenya Moore has landed back in the court of opinion. And let me tell you, these two lawyers right here, we're going to get to her and we're going to break it down. But before that, Washington Wizards general manager, and this is my choice of story tonight, Will Dawkins, was arrested and detained by police at Saks Fifth Avenue because they said that he was shoplifting. Now, the reason why I have added this to the show tonight is because a lot of us have experienced people following us around in the store, looking at us like we're thieves when we actually have the ability to pay. In this case, they actually made the wrong choice. They arrested a gentleman that makes millions of dollars being the general manager at the Washington Wizards. They detained him, and they basically said that he was a thief. Attorney Brian Ross, being the criminal attorney on the panel, talk to me about not the mistake that Saks made, because they've issued their apology, but can we talk about what are his rights for being wrongly accused?
Okay, so he's walking around Saks Fifth Avenue in Miami, Florida, looking for clothes. There are several Saks Fifth Avenues. This one in particular is in downtown Miami called Brickell Avenue. Brickell Avenue is kind of a swanky shopping district. There's a lot of high-end stores there, your Gucci's, your Pradas. There's a lot of stuff there. So he's shopping. He's walking around looking for things, and security walk up to him and say, "Hey, we want you to come with us, etc. You've seen it done before. Maybe it's happened to you. It's happened to me." And they find out, lo and behold, that the person they thought was shoplifting was, in fact, not him. In fact, the person they arrested was, as the judge said, the general manager of an NBA basketball franchise. Drop your teeth. They couldn't believe this happened. And now the CEO, the head honcho of Saks, is apologizing. Didn't this happen to Oprah Winfrey when she tried to get into the Hermes store and they wouldn't let her in? They thought she was some random black woman. What you see this is offensive to people who look like us. I can't speak for anyone else, but I imagine it'd be offensive to you. There's this thing that people think that we all look alike.
Yes.
No. And it's offensive. We don't all look alike. And I'm sorry you didn't know he was the general manager of the Washington Wizards, but now he has rights because what you've done is you've embarrassed him. Now he has to have some damages, right? It's not criminal what they did. It's civil. So if he wants to get something out of it, maybe he wants a gift card. I'm sure Sachs gave him something quietly. But beyond that, if he wanted to do something about this, he would have to have some sort of damages. He'd have to say, I couldn't sleep at night. He'd have to say, I couldn't drive past that store. He'd have to go see a psychologist. You have to come up with some sort of damages that equates to money to try to get some recoupment for this. But beyond that, the public embarrassment is what's most shaming to me. And I'm glad the Sachs CEO apologized. I'm not sure if it does enough, but it is horrific.
Okay, but this is the deal. Attorney Simone Redwine, I need you to jump in here because when you Google that man's name right now, it says that he was shoplifting.
Correct.
Okay, you can't take that off of Google. So as a black man, there's only, 3 black general managers in the National Basketball Association. This will affect his career. This will affect his ability, his long-term income. What if you were his attorney? If he came to you and said that I was wrongly accused, what advice would you be giving him right now?
I would give him the same advice that my attorney gave me when I was 17 years old and the same thing happened to me. So it happened to me back home in Oak Cliff, where I'm from, which is in Dallas, at Redbird Mall, at the Foley's store in Redbird Mall. And I was a minor. And what was especially frightening for me is they accused me of stealing. And what happens is when you're accused of doing something you haven't done, you're like, no, I haven't done anything. Then they forced me to go back into the security room by myself. That weekend, my parents were out of town. I was staying with my auntie, who was an attorney. I said, well, can I call my mom? They wouldn't let me call my mom. They said, well, we're not the cops. You're not entitled to a call. And they strip searched me as a minor. Needless to say, I went on international travel every year after that for spring break. My parents handled it, but I went to therapists. That was part of the damages models. I went to a therapist. I talked about the humiliation. I talked about how it felt. Now, ultimately, they brought police in there, and the police were like, well, she said she didn't steal it. You don't have anything on the camera. Because in my situation, what happened was I went into the dressing room to try on some sweaters, and I tried like 3 on, and I only brought out the one that I wanted to buy. That's what we do. And it's the ghetto mall. And so at that ghetto mall, they probably have all kind of shoplifting. That didn't have anything to do with me. So their issue was they couldn't find the other 2 sweaters that, were in there. But I was like, that's not my fault. I don't work here. Right. Needless to say, what I'm saying is, so here with him, he will be entitled to millions. He's going to be entitled to millions because of that. He's probably also going to make some donation to the charity of his choice.
Right.
And because of his level of leadership, I envision that part of the settlement that he will be requesting, and it's likely going to be a private settlement, he's also going to require some type of diversity training, some type of training that teaches him how to not racially profile, because that's exactly what they did.
And I'm going to tell you what he should do. And this comes from Judge Al Reynolds. You need to get an employee discount for the life of your life and your kids' life, which means that you get 40% off of any and everything that you purchase at Saks Fifth Avenue. There you go, General Manager Will Dawkins.
But Judge, not to interrupt you, but you guys have to remember something, people. We're in the state of Florida, all right? The state of Florida has some precarious laws.
I don't care.
One of them is a shopkeeper's privilege. So in this instance, while I think he should get compensated, they can say, as sadly as it is, we can make mistakes. I have a case right now, look it up, Tyrone Adams, where they arrested the wrong person coming off of a cruise ship, detained him for a week, transported him from Hillsborough County to Miami-Dade County. And yes, we're suing the government, not a private entity, which is a different threshold. And their argument is, we're allowed to make these mistakes. They are allowed, unfortunately, in Florida.
Okay, hold on. Attorney Brian Ross, this is my courtroom. Okay, let's be very clear. In my courtroom, we're going to help the black man out.
I want to help him out too. I'm not saying I don't. I'm telling you.
I'm just saying they can't. Saks Fifth Avenue cannot take this type of negative press from African-American shoppers who make up more than 50% of their bottom line, because we are buyers in their stores. It might not be in Florida, but we are buyers in their stores across the country. To treat us like this and to have us turn that profit margin off there would not be smart in their bottom line. So for me, give that man his discount. All right, everybody, we're going to keep it moving. All right, Miss Kenya Moore, we're here, and we're here in the court of public opinion, and we're talking about you once again. But guess what, everybody? It's not about her divorce. It's about her departure. It's about her departure from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, we know that Kenya allegedly has some charges against her related to revenge porn, but this is a whole different case. Attorney Redwine, Kenya Moore is not talking about the revenge porn. She's saying that she is suing for racial discrimination. She's saying that there is a similar case with another franchise that was a white individual that did the exact same thing that she did and was not disciplined, and was not released from the show. Attorney Redwine, take it from here.
Yes. So basically, she hasn't confirmed, but she's stating that she's exploring all of her options, and that specifically is considering charges for discrimination. I believe it was Tom Sandoval who did something similar with another cast member. But my understanding is what he did is he had pictures of this person performing fellatio or whatever and passed it around to other men or other people that were at the event. If you're in the chat, if you know what episode I'm referring to, please feel free to drop the facts. But if that is the case, though, that's distinctly different as well, because that was only the castmates that were looking at that phone could see the nakedness, could see this, that, and a third. That's totally different than you putting up a photo of your cast member performing fellatio on, may or may not be your husband, in a public venue. And with respect to the revenge porn, I know that Kenya's position to date has been, I took a publicly available photo. I want to be clear, that does not prevent you from possibly being liable for revenge porn.
Wow.
And that is because remember Girls Gone Wild, that whole porn network? They got sued and ultimately were crumbled, right? Because they would publish onto different internet websites, PORN videos of young girls, and then other people would duplicate them and share them. But what happened is, because they did not have permission to publish it in the first place, neither did anyone else. So here it appears that Britney's position is nobody had permission to publish that. So if no one had permission to publish that photo, and that actually would include OnlyFans, because with OnlyFans, you pay a membership. And so the rules are the member can see it, but even that member couldn't even republish it. So even if you took something from OnlyFans and you republished it, if Kenya then republished again, she's still liable for revenge.
Okay.
Because she never had permission. Right.
Attorney Ross, help me out right here, because you're the criminal attorney here. What if you were representing the network? What would be your pushback on Kenya's case? Because she's basically saying that she didn't share it, right? Right, Attorney Redwine? She's saying that she didn't post it anywhere. She shared it.
Well, that it wasn't private. It was
right. It wasn't right. She said it wasn't private. So if
she's
you
saying
were her,
that she showed it to people.
But she showed it. Yes.
She's saying she took a public photo. She took a photo that wasn't private.
What she's saying is that it was already out there. She's saying it was already out there, right, Attorney Redwine? And
correct.
She simply just shared what was already public property. Yes. So correct. Tell me, Attorney Ross, what are her rights? Like,
what the network's rights or her rights? Which one do you want me to?
Well, I mean, let's go down both.
If I am general counsel for the network and we fired her because she showed quote unquote fellatio or whatever have you happening, and she says, well, it was already out there, my response to her will be, what gave you the right to forward that though? What allowed you to carry that forward? The character of the photo in and of itself should be something that we at the network, you as a member of the network, an employee of the network, cannot forward. And because you broke that code, whether written or unwritten, you're removed from your position. That would be the kind of the philosophical approach I would take as the general counsel for the network. I would hope that there would be some agreement that she signed that outlines certain behaviors, but without having that in my hand, that would be the approach. Now, if I am her lawyer, I'm going to take her line because she's listening to whatever her lawyers told her. It was already out there. I'm not even the first person to show it. Other people saw besides me. What I was talking about was something that was in my hand in a conversation that we were having amongst other people who had the same knowledge as me. So you can't isolate me being the only person because there's other people who have done the same thing, including this girl. She didn't get fired and I did, which means you're discriminating against me and singling me out for something that we all knew. So those are the two sides of positions of it.
All right, everybody. You heard it first right here. These illegal beagles right here don't play around. Simone Redwine, did you want to add something to this?
Yeah, I just want to say in conclusion, I really enjoyed Kenya on the show, and I really think she should, if her suspension, usually what they do is they suspend you for one season. So if her suspension at this point is going to be for the rest of this season, I think she needs to just take her licks and go and not pursue a lawsuit, because if she sues them, she's going to end up just like Nene. And as long as you have a pending suit, the legal department is not authorized to allow you on another episode until your lawsuit is resolved. Right. And that's how come, despite Nene's huge celebrity and the loyal fans, they simply cannot, because of the fact that the network's insurance, the insurance policy that is required for them to have in place to film, will not renew if they allow someone in an active lawsuit to participate in filming.
All right, everybody. I'm telling you, only right here on the Court of Public Opinion will you be taught everything you need to know about how it may affect you in your life. We normally at this part of the show, we will go to our questions, but we don't have a lot of questions here, but we do have some shout outs that we definitely want to share. Sabrina Lee, thank you so much, Sabrina Lee. Sabrina Lee says, okay, Al, I like this platform. Foolery with the facts. That's right. You know, we got some good foolery for you, but we're going to always not only bring you the facts, but we're going to bring you the law as it relates to our lives. All right, Billy Little. Billy Little, don't make me want to adopt you. We're going to bring you on this platform. Thank you so much, Billy Little, for the contribution. He said, like, share, subscribe, everyone. We need this show 5 days a week. Well, you know, Simone and Brian, they're so busy, I can't even get them 2 days a week. So let's take them when we can get them. And last but not least, Love Ajana, maybe I'm saying it wrong, but please forgive me. You guys know I will butcher a name. She said, really enjoy this show. I knew I should have gone to law school. Keep up the good work, ignore distractions, and keep going. And Sabrina Lee is a new member. Sabrina, thank you and welcome. All right, everybody. Before we go, this is a part of the show where we deliver our verdict on all of the topics that we talked about tonight. First up, Tiana Taylor and Iman. Is Iman guilty or not guilty of paying enough child support? Attorney Redwine, what are your thoughts?
He's not guilty. I think the $8,000 is sufficient. I think that's good. So I'm gonna say not guilty.
Not guilty. Okay, Attorney Ross, what are we saying? Is he guilty or not guilty of paying too much in child support?
He's paying a correct amount of child support, but he got robbed overall.
Right. All right. This is Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge, and I am going to rule in the favor of Iman. He is not guilty, and he needs to be asked. He needs to go back to the court and ask for them to recalculate. He's not working. She's the star, so I think she should pay a little bit more than him. All right. Next up, Peter Thomas, Attorney Brian Ross, criminal attorney Brian Ross. We got PPP loans. We got Social Security fraud. Is he guilty or not guilty of doing the right thing? Attorney Ross, what say you?
Innocent until proven guilty. I'll stick with it.
Wow, Attorney Ross. We see where you're leaning. All right, Attorney Redwine, what are your thoughts on Peter Thomas stealing from his employees and taking the money from the PPP loans?
That man been scamming for decades. He just finally got caught. Bye-bye. Now, I hope he doesn't go away for 5 years. I think, give him a little house arrest. He's old. He can go any day now. Guilty.
All right, this is Al Reynolds, and I'm your judge. And I'm going to rule Peter Thomas because he's a friend, and we go golfing on Saturdays. Not guilty.
Who pays for the golfing?
You know how that happens.
Did not see that coming.
That happens in the courts, right? You know how that happens in the courts all the time. That happens in the courts all the time.
Did not see that
coming.
Come
on, Peter. Let's not steal from the employees. And most of all, let's correct the wrong. Like, let's work out a deal because you're my buddy and you are an OG and you have been in business for a long time. We don't want you to go down like this. All right, Judge Christina Peterson. Oh my goodness, Attorney Redwine. Can we save her at any point? Is she guilty or not guilty of just showing her entire ass?
She don't want to be saved, baby girl. She's so pretty and guilty.
Oh, all right. Attorney Ross.
Again, I have to agree with my esteemed colleague, Simone Redwine. She's guilty. The video, Lord, please don't let the video come out in your ethics hearing.
All right, Your Honor Peterson. I tried, baby. I'm on the judge. I'm a judge too, but we got to find you in the court of public opinion guilty. You are guilty as charged. Baby, you drunk and you hollering and you screaming and you swinging in the wig. At least keep your wig on. At least keep your wig on if you're going to show out tonight. All right.
F you, Ian.
Next up, we have Saks Fifth Avenue. Is Saks Fifth Avenue guilty or not guilty for racially profiling the Wizards' general manager? He's not a player. He's not a coach. He's the general manager. He runs the players and he runs the coach. Is Saks Fifth Avenue Brian Ross guilty or not guilty of racial profiling?
Guilty, and guilty is all day. Terrible.
All right, Attorney Redwine, are they guilty or not guilty?
Burn them down. They're guilty.
I agree. This is Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here in the court of public opinion, and we're finding Saks Fifth Avenue not only guilty but negligent. Negligent for treating people that look like you and I different than everybody else. You are guilty. Pay the fine and report to floor number 3. All right, last up, Kenya Moore. This is a tough one, ladies and gentlemen. Is Kenya Moore guilty or not guilty? Or less better yet, is Bravo guilty or not guilty of racial discrimination? Did this happen with other cast members that don't look like us or not? Attorney Brian Ross, is Bravo guilty or not guilty of racial discrimination?
At the risk of getting my head chopped off on this show, I'm going to say Bravo is not guilty of racial discrimination. You cannot go around and show that stuff on your phone. You're 53 years old. Something clicked and said, this is a bad idea.
All right, Attorney Redwine, let him have it. Let them have
Brian, it was posters at the event. So the reason I'm going to say not guilty is because her castmate threatened to sue the network if she was allowed to stay on. So I'm going to say, hey, once the castmate said they finna sue you, I would drop her like a bad habit too. But come back next year, Kenya. Don't sue him, Kenya. Just come back.
Well, really, this is Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge in the court of public opinion. And like Christine R., I'm going to find both Bravo and Kenya guilty of charge. Miss Kenya Moore, you're too long in the tooth, sweetheart. You are the star. You came back. You're the reason why we wanted to continue to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I think pushing for ratings pushed you to do something that is not of your normal character. Right. I'm going to find you guilty for wanting to get those ratings up. All right, everybody, that concludes another show of the Court of Public Opinion. Be sure to hit that like button, please. I see a lot of you in the chat, or watching the show, but the likes aren't liking. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to share. Be sure to hit that, turn on your notification, because like I said, I got a couple of things I'm going to be sharing soon. And as always, thank you for joining us tonight, because we love your engagement. We love your questions. We love your comments. And we'll see you on Friday for a special edition of Ladies Night. All right, court is now adjourned.